The United Nations Children's Fund (UNICEF) has expressed deep concern over the alarming state of basic education in Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina states. Speaking at a press briefing at Bon Hotels, Kano, to commemorate the International Day of Education 2025, Rahamarihud Mohammed Farah, chief of UNICEF Kano Field Office, highlighted the dire situation. According to Farah, the region has the second highest out-of-school rates in Nigeria, with a staggering 10.2 million children nationwide not attending primary school. Of this, 16% are from Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina states. In Kano state alone, 989,234 children are out of school, while Jigawa and Katsina have 337,861 and 536,112 out-of-school children, respectively.
The theme for this year is based on AI, artificial intelligence, and education, preserving human agency in the world of automation. However, for today's conversation, our conversation today is not going to be entirely focused on AI and education. We will talk about the state of the basic education in the 3 states that are actually supported by UNICEF, which is Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina. And we will also talk about the emerging disruptive and impact of climate change on education, because this is an area where we seriously face when it comes to the northwest of Nigeria.
Farah emphasized that even among enrolled children, learning outcomes are poor, citing the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey Mix 2021. He noted that only 1 in 4 Nigerian children aged 7 to 14 can read and understand a simple sentence or solve basic arithmetic. In Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina, foundational learning rates are a dismal 11% or lower. To address this, Farah said challenges UNICEF has been working closely with the governments of Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina states to implement various initiatives.
While the northwest in Nigeria has the second highest out-of-school children rates, the situation of out-of-school children population in Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina is alarming and further exacerbated by the poor learning outcomes for those children who are unfortunate and fortunate to be enrolled in some of these schools. There are currently about 10.2 million children at the primary level are out of school in Nigeria. 16% of them are actually from Kano, Jigawa, Katsina states, according to the Mix 2021. Close to 1 million children are out of school in Kano, and a total of about 337,000 are out of school children are in Jigawa, and similarly, over 500,000 children are out of school in Katsina state. According to Mix 2021, 31% of the primary school going age children are actually out of school in Kano state alone.
1 out of 10, right? Children can read a simple paragraph at an expected speed and solve some mathematical problems.
This initiative includes cash transfers to support vulnerable families in accessing education, enrollment drives in partnership with communities and traditional leaders, provision of school grants to improve access to quality education, integrated Quranic schools to provide alternative learning pathways, teacher training and support to enhance teaching methodologies, supply of learning materials to ensure students have necessary tools, and school infrastructure developments to create conducive learning environments.
While the out-of-school children is a major concern for us. The challenge is also that even those children who had the opportunity to be enrolled in school are not necessarily learning or have a quality education. For instance, 1 out of 4 children in Nigeria aged 7 to 14 years can read and understand simple sentence or solve basic arithmetics, according to the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey Mix 2021 report. Across Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina state, this challenge is staggering. The tests that conducted by the Federal Ministry of Education in 2022 found that foundational learning rates stand at 11% or lower in 3 states of Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina. For instance, only 2% of primary school learners in Jigawa
read with understanding. In other words, in Nigeria, only one recruits more children into schools. Members of the State Assembly are still working to conduct more enrollment drive. We have some number, but I appreciate that the Speaker is leading that particular actions. He said he has declared also emergency on out-of-school children within the State Assembly. And I understand he supports members to conduct enrollment drives. So we'll continue to engage with them. It's never late. I think just last 2 or 3 weeks, Bruniwa conducted another enrollment drive. So it's still an ongoing process, right?
Farah called on the governments of Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina to take urgent action to address the crisis in basic education. He then urged to increase funding for basic education, tackle access challenges, expand school infrastructure, recruit qualified teachers, and address the impacts of climate change on learning.
Foundational reading skills, while less than 1% have numeracy skills. Although Kano figures appears to be better than Jigawa, which is about 9.6% for reading and 11.2% for numeracy, these figures are still way lower than the national averages of 26% for reading proficiency and 25% for numeracy, respectively. The other issue about education is the inadequate funding for the education sector. The education sector has faced the challenge of inadequate funding across the states. Although budgetary allocation have improved in recent years, exceeding the UNESCO benchmark in the states like Kano and Jigawa, the actual release and expenditure has not been the case. Expand access to education for children from families. UNICEF supported the cash transfer program to improve access to education for vulnerable families, particularly those who come from the poor segment of the population. UNICEF had implemented a cash transfer program to support those families. In terms of the out-of-school children, we have supported the enrollment drive. UNICEF has been partnering with the communities, traditional leaders, and decision makers on enrollment drives to improve access to education. We have partnered with Jigawa State House of Assembly, led by the Speaker, on the school enrollment campaign, resulting in the enrollment of hundreds of children in school. Provision of school grants supported the provision of an effective use of school grants to improve access to quality, inclusive education. We also work with Quranic schools, madrasas, and sangayas. Integrated Quranic School, UNICEF has supported the integration and curriculum and training. 290 malams of Quranic schools in Kano and Jigawa states committed to implementing the integrated basic education curriculum. Building schools and community accountability. We have established and strengthened the school-based management committees and community-based management committees. We have strengthened the role and capacity of local and school communities in supporting school retention, transition, and completion. We have supported infrastructure improvement, rendered learning more feasible and more accessible. The construction of climate change resilient water and sanitation and hygiene facilities in schools, health, and in certain communities. A total of 39,432 children facilities and children in these schools have benefited from the construction and rehabilitation of the wash facilities in 33 schools.
As the world marks the International Day of Education 2025, UNICEF is sounding the alarm over the alarming state of basic education in Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina states. It is imperative that urgent action is taken to address the crisis and ensure that every child has access to quality education. Skylink TV.